Okay, so let's go in the today's class. So the aim of today's class is to do an introduction, like a basic introduction to the JavaScript functions. So the function is a very important thing in programming, as it is used in many languages, most of them. So what we're going to see today, the concepts are used also in other languages. And then what's going to change is the way you write maybe the keywords around the definition of the function, but otherwise it's very useful. So this is like a very important concept in programming. Okay, so what is a function? A function as
sorry to interrupt, Paulin. Can you zoom a little bit in the browser?
Okay, and someone else is also coming. Setting. Okay, like this.
Yes, I think yes, it's much better.
Can I? I don't know if I can remove that thing on the side. No. Okay. So hi, set. I don't know how.
Hi, it's
Hi,
Chetan.
hi. Sorry.
Chetan. Its pronunciation is Chetan.
Chetan. Okay. Pleased to meet you. So I'm Paulin. I'll be a guest lecturer from every 2 weeks on Fridays. And if you want to say something about yourself, now is the time.
I'm glad you to be here.
Okay. Okay, well, that's nice. All right, so let's go on. So a function, as its name says it, is made to do something. Okay, it has like a functionality, and so in programming that means it's a block of code. Okay, and it's made to do something, so to perform a particular task. And so this function, when you declare it, it doesn't do anything. It actually do something. So when you call it, okay. So there's two concepts here. Is the function. It's the code that is made to do something. Okay, a block of code, and then there's the concept of calling that block of code to actually do the thing. Okay. So here's an example in JavaScript. Function is a keyword, as I'm sure you maybe discovered some now, maybe like let or const. So that's why it's in syntaxically highlighted in blue, because it's a keyword of JavaScript. Okay, so that's something you're going to use every time to declare a function. Then what this does, it declares a function, and this function returns the product of two arguments. So P1 and P2 are arguments. My function is the name of that part of code, okay, that block of code. And what is inside that block is what's going to be executed when you call that function. And so I'm going to go in just a bit afterwards in more details in the syntax. But so this is a function, okay? And what it does, it gives you the product of two numbers. And so if we go and try it yourself, I can see. Yeah, okay. Here is the definition of a function, and here we call that function, and so what we see, it's 4 by 3 gives 12. This is a bit tough as an introduction example, but we're going to see more in details how this works. Okay, so it's just that you can see at first glance that a function is made to do something, and in that case, it's to do the product of two numbers. Okay, I can't see the chat, but is everybody still on board?
Maybe we can you can change the arguments with a couple of examples so that we see.
Yeah. Okay.
In the
good idea. So this was the function definition, okay, and this is when we use the function. And so if I change, let's say 5 by 3, this is 15, and so if I run it again, I see that the results changed, okay? And if I do 5 by 1, it's 5, and so this gives 5. And so that's the concept of the function is that's part of code that is declared, okay? We can call it with parameters, and those parameters can change, and it gives different results every time. Okay, if it's not very clear to you now, it's going to be a bit afterwards when we're going to see more in detail the syntax and more examples. Any questions until now?
No.
Okay. So this was a first example of a function declaration, okay? And what we're going to see now is the syntax, the generic syntax. So the generic syntax gives you the way of declaring a function, any function, okay? So this is what we're going to see. So as I said a bit before, there's you need to write a keyword function. Okay, so that's here. This is, you have to put it every time. So it says to the JavaScript interpreter that you want to declare a function. And then you give it a name. So in the first example, the name was my function, but it could be anything. The names should be camel case. I don't know if you've seen that, maybe Costas.
yes, maybe you can just say a few words about the describe the camel case.
It's just the way of, so the name here could be anything, right? It could be capital letters mixed with whatever. It could be full capital letters with underscores, dash, etc. But there's a convention that says a function should be written camel case, and so that means any function you declare should be in that kind of way. So it always starts with a underscore letter, okay? And then when you add a new word, so new English word, then you add a capital letter. So this is camel case. This is not camel case. This is not camel case either, etc. And this is not camel case. Okay, so this is okay. Is it clear for everyone? Camel case. And this is not camel case. This is not camel case either. This either, etc. Okay. So the name should be camel case, and it could be anything apart from that. And once you've okay, and then yeah, okay. So this is they say here it can contain anything, but we want the rule is to make it camel case. Okay. Then what you have on the parentheses here is are the parameters. Okay, so it can be any number of parameters, and they're all separated by commas. So in our example, there were 2 parameters. That's why they're actually called parameter 1 and parameter 2, P1 and P2. Okay, but in real life, you can have 0, 1, 2, 3, or any number of parameters. although you don't want to have too many parameters, as it won't be readable anymore. Okay, but in theory, you can have as many parameters as you want. And once you've defined that part, so the keyword, the name, and the list of parameters, then between brackets, okay, there's the code to be executed. And that code is like any JavaScript code is executed from top to bottom, right? Instructions after instructions. The only difference is that you can tell the program, the only difference is that if you have something like this, the interpreter will interpret this, and then this is a function declaration, but the difference is like it's not called directly, right? When you declare it, it's not called. So even if this is read by the interpreter, the code won't do this instruction, then this instruction, then this instruction. So like this part won't be executed straight away. It goes there, and then my function will be called only from here. Okay, so this must be pretty new for you guys, but is this clear? Maybe you want some more details about stuff?
You can raise your hand at any point and or leave your question in the chat. So,
oh, I see something's happening. Wait, where do I see that? It's here. Okay. Plus, okay. So people are saying stuff on the chat, I think.
Okay. Do you want me to say the question?
No, okay, is this clear for everyone? Is you saying this? Okay, it's clear. So first we declare it, and then we call it when we want to execute it. So to answer to Curie question, yes, you can call it as many times you want. So we're gonna, it's the next paragraph is about function invocation. So that's what we're gonna see. But to answer your question, yes, we can call it as many times as you want. So once a function is declared, it's like a tool you can use an infinite number of times. And then Armando is asking, are the parameters equal to var? So when you say that, you mean is a parameter the same as a variable? Then the answer is yes, it's a variable, but you can't really, it's not something that should be changed during the execution of the function. So think about it more as a const. Have you seen constants?
Yes, we've seen.
Okay. So it's more like a constant. Okay, because the goal of the function is to take those parameters, so they're fixed, okay, and then to do something with the values of those parameters. So in the example, it's like you get 5 and 3, and then you return the product, right? And you don't have to declare them before, because once they are written between the parentheses, it's like they're declared. Okay, that means they can be used in the function. So in that example, we just write a function, my function, then P1 and P2, and then they are usable here as if they were const or variables. So we never update parameters. Well, you shouldn't. I think in JavaScript it's possible, like it's permitted, but it's bad practice. I don't know if you agree with me, Kostas?
I think yes, that would be a good suggestion. We try to avoid changing the parameters.
Yeah, it makes the code very hard to understand, because what you want is at any part of the code inside the function, you want to be sure that when you call, for example, when you use P1 and P2, you want to be sure that they're still the same value as the one that they were passed. Sorry, because if you modify them, you know, in the middle of the function, then you don't know what they are and what are the values, etc. So to answer your question, you could update them, but you better forget that you can do it because it's very bad practice. It's a thing with JavaScript in general. It's very permissive. So a lot of stuff can be done, but it doesn't mean you should do it. But that's kind of a more advanced thing to say. Okay, so we've seen the syntax to declare the function. Sorry, yeah. Okay, they say it's the same as procedure or subroutine in other programming languages, but I'm not sure you know what a procedure or subroutine is. So this is not very helpful, but just think of it as, yeah, just a bit of code that, you know, it's made to do something and that you can call as many times as you want. Okay, so the function invocation, the code inside the function will execute when something invokes, calls the function. So as we saw, you can call the function by just writing it. Okay, so this is what we're doing here. And the cases where you want to do that is, okay, when something happens, like a user interacts with the page, and so you want to call to that function, for example. But otherwise, you can call it anywhere from any code, anywhere in your JavaScript code. And when they say it can be automatically called, I'm not sure what they mean. So maybe we'll get back on that. Okay, and so maybe we can see a bit more about calling functions. So maybe what I can do is show you this. Okay, I have. Okay, so this is. Can you still see my browser, right? Okay.
So, can you zoom in a bit also on the console?
Yeah. So to show you that we can call a function as many times as we want, we can create another function. So we saw the first example was to do the product, okay? But now we can do the sum. It's even easier. So I'm writing the function keyword, then I write add, and I need two parameters. So let's say I say parameter 1, parameter 2, okay? And then what I want is to return parameter 1, plus parameter 2. So this is fairly the same as the example function, except it does sum instead of a product, okay? So I've declared a function, and so to show you that I can call it as many times as I want, I can, you know, call it here, say add of 1 and 2 returns 3, but I can do, you know, 0 plus 2 equals 2, etc. And so once the function is declared, I can call it by just writing its name, okay, and putting the parameters. So yeah, can do. Okay. Is everything's fine for everyone still? I'm guessing yes.
Yes.
Okay. If it's way too easy, you tell me, right? And we go to the hard stuff straight away. No. Okay. Next paragraph is about return. So this is what we saw already in the first example. It's very self-explanatory. It means you want to return a value, right? So in our two first examples, when we say return P1 times P2, we return the product of the two numbers, and this is what you get, okay, as a result of the function. And the same for add, you know, I return the parameter 1 and plus parameter 2, and this is what we get as a result of the function. Now, to go more into details about this, what happens is anytime you write return, okay, the function will stop executing. So that means if the interpreter reaches return, it's the end of the function, and everything that's afterwards will be won't be executed. So what we can do is I take my example, okay, and I'm gonna create a new function called broken add or broken sum. Okay, and instead of returning, instead of having one line that returns the value, I'm going to do this: return and okay. So this is my new function. It's called broken sum. It still takes two parameters, and I changed the code. So instead of having return parameter 1 and parameter 2 plus parameter 2, I have a first line saying return not working man, and the second line is return parameter 1 plus parameter 2. So now I'm going to try the same examples as before.
Sorry, Paulin, can you zoom in a little more on the console?
Yeah.
And one more, sorry.
Is that fine?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay. So can anyone tell me what's gonna be the result of calling broken sum 1 and 2? So it's the same example, okay, as this one, and we should have the result should be the sum of 1 and 2. But can you say with this broken sum function what will be the result?
Cetin says not working man.
Okay, and Vasa says not working and free. So the correct answers is there's only one return, because once you reach the return part, once you reach the first return instruction, it's the end of the function. So what happens when I call broken sum 1, 2? It goes here, okay? And the first instruction is return not working man. So then it returns a value, and the rest of the function is not executed. So the second instruction is never executed. So there's always only one return value. And yes, about the name, yeah, it's as I said, just after the function keyword, you can put any name you want, as far as it is a camel case. And same about the parameters. Okay. Back to that part. So what's the point of adding a second return since it will never be executed? Good question. There is no point. It's just a stupid example, but it's to show you how it works. But so I guess you saw, for example, the conditions, right?
Yes, we saw. So that's what I was thinking right now too.
You could have two return instructions, but they can be executed in some context or not. So for example, if parameter 1 equals 0, let's say, it's a stupid example, but so in that function, in the broken sum, so I'm redefining broken sum, so it's going to replace what was declared here. What I'm writing is, if parameter 1 is 0, then I return not working man, else I return the sum. Okay? So what's going to happen if I write broken sum 1, 2. What will be the result value, the return value? Yeah, so as you're all saying, it's 3. So that's correct. And now if I'm writing something, okay, yeah, I'm trying to hide the thing every time, but okay. The dev console gives you the answer even if you don't press enter. So yeah, I'm gonna work on my surprise effects. But okay, so broken sum 0, 2 gives you not working man. And so it gives you not working man because when you entered that code, the first condition is is parameter 1 0, and in that case it is, so then it returns not working man. So this example was to show you that you can have multiple return instructions in a function, but they have to be conditions around them, right? Otherwise, just like writing, you know, a return and then another return afterwards is meaningless. For example, after, yeah, what was my first example? Yeah, so everything, everything after the first return executed will never be executed. So that's something that you'll never probably write because the Costas, have they seen the like linter or maybe this kind of stuff? Not yet, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, but okay, like your IDE. So, for example, Visual Studio Code, you know, will tell you, or in any programming language, when you're coding, the IDE will probably tell you that the code after the return will never be executed, and so it's like it's a problem. It's a warning because it's meaningless.
Do you have VS Code open?
Why? Do you want me to show it?
I think it would be good to show like how VS Code displays the second return with a grayed out with a lower opacity. It's with a different color, which is nice.
Say again. They show what?
So VS Code, when you have two return statements, the useless one is displayed with a different color, like it's grayed out in VS Code.
Okay. I'm just doing the.
But yes, we can show it later.
Huh? It doesn't do it for me. I don't know why.
Okay, so we can only see your browser.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's working. Wait, so.
I think you need to share your screen.
The code. So you should be seeing my VS Code now.
But a little bit up the zoom.
It's very, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I was saying. Now that we have to return, the second one is like a bit shaded. And when you put your mouse, your pointer on top of it, it says, unreachable code detected. So it will always tell you that this code will never be reached. Sorry, so parameters and arguments are the same. Accuri is asking. It's two words to say the same thing. So sorry if I've been using both, but they're the same.
Okay, I have to
disagree.
Yeah, I have to disagree. Okay, I mean, let's say officially, or if we want to be more strict, parameters are the parameter 1 and parameter 2 on line 1 on Paulin's screen. So whenever we declare the parameters inside the parentheses of the functions or the placeholders, let's say for the values, these are the parameters. When we call the function and pass some value, these are the arguments. It's always confusing, and I mean, you will always see these terms used interchangeably, but the official definition is like parameters are when you declare them in the function, and arguments when you put some value in this. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But it's also, as you said, very true that people use it interchangeably. So
I don't think you will find easily. You'll find this kind of strict terminology. Everyone is using them like
yeah, they kind of. Okay, another question: if we was to use a different math operation with the same parameters, do we have to repeat the same function? No, you would have to write another function. So it's what, okay, I'm going to share the other screen again. So back to the browser. It's what I did when I wrote, so the example function was like a product. And so I wrote another one called sum to do the sum, right? But to show you, maybe we can, write another function that will be subtract, right? So we write another function, and then let's say it's P1, P2, and then, and you return P1 minus P2. So anytime you want to do something different, you have to write another function. As a, yeah, it's kind of generic saying that, but yes, that's the thing. Param equal accepts values. Okay, so back to that part. So we saw the return, that after the first return statement, the code will stop executing, right? So yeah, it's like if the function was invoked from a statement, JavaScript will return to execute the code after the invoking statement. So what that means is when you are, so what that means is when you do, for example, A equals 1 plus 2, okay? And you want to do B equals subtract so what that means is things are executed in order, right? But that order changes with when the function is called, but when it returns, you go back to the same previous order. So that means if I write this piece of code, okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to call the function add, okay? Inside the function add, there will be a return statement. And once the return statement is reached, we go out of the function, we have a return value, and the function is terminated. And so we continue the execution from where we were before, right? So we were in that line, we call the function, then we have a result. So A equals the result of that function. No, yeah. And once that's done, we go to the next line, etc., etc. So again, we go to the next line, we call subtract. Subtract is called, and then there's a return in subtract, and then we go back to the same order of execution, right? That being said, this is a trickier example, but we can try. So can you say what B is going to be when I execute this? It's a bit harder, but 1, 0, okay. So yes, the correct answer is 0, and the answer, the reason why is because, okay, I'm going to add logs here, and so A is called, and we have an A becomes the result of 1 plus 2, right? So A is 3, and we're going to see it with the log here, and then the line afterwards is subtract 3 and 3, and so that's equal to 0. So b is going to be equal to 0. Now, if I ask how much is b, b is 0. Okay for everyone? Okay. Now, back here. So yeah, that part was saying that the order of execution is preserved. And so what happens if we declare first the B? I mean, we could say, let B equals 0, and then just B equals this. That's the same. Because at the end of all this code, you know, B will be replaced by the result of subtract. So it's the same.
Maybe
I don't know.
Alik asks if we move the line with B equals subtract. Probably, is that Alik or?
Yes, yes.
Wait, oh yeah, sorry. Okay, what was the question, sorry?
If you move the line B equals subtract above the line const A and blah, blah, blah. So it's not about declaration of declare the line, but move it above the...
Like this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Well, okay, I have to delete a few. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the page because I'm in the developer console, so the values are kept between executions. So okay, so this is the example you want to see, right? So so first line, okay. We call the function subtract. I don't have subtract anymore, I guess. Wait. I need to redeclare the. Okay, so back here. So the first line is we call subtract with a and 3. But what is the value of a at that point? Do you have an idea, Aliki?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Curie replied too fast, but okay, yes, it's undefined. So we're going to call the function, okay, but then in here, it's going to be returned the undefined plus 3. And undefined plus 3, sadly, is not a number. So I think what it's going to answer is going to be a special value, not a number. And so B will be not a number. It's a special keyword. We're going to see the results afterwards, so you can see. And then we go to that part. So A is equals add of 1 and 2. So A is going to be 3 as before, okay? But B will be not a number. So the order matters because in one case you have what you want, and the other case you have something that's not a good result. Okay. Okay, it's even. Okay, I get an error. I'm surprised actually. What's up? Is there like an earthquake right now? Hello?
Yes, it's an earthquake.
Wow. That's the first one I've witnessed. Sorry. How long does it last? Sorry. Is everybody here?
Okay. Here it stops probably.
Wow. That's weird. Okay.
Is everyone okay? That was
okay.
really, it was really strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, is everybody safe? Good?
Yes, okay, safe.
Quite strong.
Yeah.
I am in the third floor and second a lot.
Yeah, I'm on the sixth floor of the building. It was moving so much. Very weird. Anyway. Right. So back to the back to the example. Yeah, I'm surprised that this doesn't work because A should be undefined. So I'm not sure why it gives. Do you know, Costas, why?
Yes, because since it has not yet been initialized
Okay, so
or declared.
it should be something like this, huh? For the example to work, but it's kind of bad.
This happens, I mean, the undefined would happen only with var.
Right,
with
okay.
const and let. I mean, if a was, instead of const a, it was var a, it would be undefined. But with const and let, it is just, it gives you an error.
An arrow, okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, well, this is a bad example. Okay, so I kind of missed my example here, but the thing is, it doesn't work. Okay, in any case, it would have given a bad result. But even in the case where A is not declared, then it just gives you an error, so it fails.
I think the rule from this example that we should keep is that it's a general rule and it's a best practice. It's always declare your variables first and then access them or use them. So if you keep this in mind, you will never have to deal with any kind of problem. So first declare your variables and assign a value, and then afterwards access the value or assign a value. So declarations go first. I think that's a really strict rule.
Yep.
At the top of your code, for example, or
yep.
at the top of a function.
You always need to declare variable, but yeah. Okay, back to the rest. So functions of a computer return value. Okay, so that's just to give you the names, but I've been using that term from the beginning. So what you return is the return value. And so that's what you get from the part where you called the function. And so, yeah, that's what they say here. The value is returned back to the caller. And so the caller is, okay. 616, huh? It's big. Anyway, so yeah, this is the same example, example as in the introduction.
There is a question from Patrick.
Yeah, so we're just gonna see what that does. I don't think people do const a just like this, but
exactly.
because it doesn't mean anything. Because if you do const a, exactly, they say it's an error because they say you don't have a value. Okay, but then you could do const a equals this, but then, sorry. But then that's not very useful, right? Because now you have a value that's always the same and it's an empty quote and you can't modify it afterwards. What could be an okay declaration would be let B, for example, because then you could change the value of B, or say let C equals this, for example. With let, you're able to modify the value afterwards. With const, it's a constant, so it cannot be changed. So const A as you said, in the first sentence, doesn't mean anything. Okay, you're welcome. Right, so back to that part. That example here is the same as the one in the introduction, right? And it's just, you know, to see, to kind of review the concepts of the caller, the callee, and the function that is called, and the result, the return value, sorry. So this is a function call, okay? So this is where the function is called. And this, the return value here is 4 by 3, so it's the product of A and B, okay? And the value that's written here is the return value, and this is what you get from, it means this is equal to the return value, okay? So X will be equal to the return value. So the return value is assigned to X, okay? Okay, then it's maybe about Y function. So everything clear for everyone up until now? Okay.
Okay, can continue.
Sorry?
We can continue, yes.
We can continue,
Nico
yeah.
said.
Okay. Then there's a chapter about why we use functions. It's because you want to be able to, the first is you want to be able to reuse some code. In our example, I mean, just the product, you know, it's quite easy. I mean, we could write, you know, 2 by 3 and then 4 by 3 or whatever. It's very simple, okay? Because the function is only one line of code. But in some cases, there's some stuff you want to do that is, I don't know, even 10 lines of code. It would be very, very painful to write them again and again to do the same thing, right? So that's why you want to factorize and have functions. So you can use the same thing many times. Also, it prevents to have errors. So in some cases, you would think, you know, well, maybe if I'm only using this code 2 times, you know, I can copy paste and it's going to be fine. But that's a source of errors because maybe you will be declaring the variables 2 times. Maybe some values will be changed by the function, etc., by the first part of the code, etc., etc. So even if it's the same code, anytime you have twice the same part of code, then you should think about making a function. So that's a rule, you know, as far as you have more than, you know, maybe 2, 3, 4 lines of code that repeat themselves, you should think about making a function. Even if it's the same, exactly the same code, you know, you have to think about functions. And again, as we saw in Visual Studio Code about the second return instruction, sorry, that was, you know, a bit shaded. Visual Studio Code will tell you if you have some code duplicated, so twice or 3 times the same code, the same part of code in your file, it will tell you that, you know, it's duplicated. And what you do in that case is you make a function. So don't you sorry. So you don't duplicate that code. Sorry.
For example, just to add something, because we saw an example yesterday, I think it's nice to connect it with yesterday's code. We saw an example where we were repeating ourselves by using document write and displaying a message. If you remember the example from yesterday, with the years of the student, we were using the same code by displaying a message. You can enroll to the course or not. So at that point, now that you know how to use functions, you can go back and use a function instead of repeating the code with the methods. So for those of you who were attending yesterday's lesson, you will remember that we did some refactoring, and we had exactly the same code in two parts, in an if and an else statement. We refactor it using some other way, but we can do it with functions too. So just to connect with yesterday's code, something that we did.
And so yeah, exactly. This is a case example of what you do. Okay, and so I forgot what I wanted to say. Yes, so the function is actually made for that, is to actually have code that you want to use in different places, and so you can factorize. So the word is to factorize. You can factorize duplicated code, in one function, or like code that do a bit of the same, in one function with like maybe different parameters or arguments to have this. Okay, then they give another example that it's the bit of the same. Just we have a function declaration 2 Celsius, okay. And you pass Fahrenheit. And so what it does, it converts the Fahrenheit in Celsius. Okay. And so the line afterwards is, we call 2 Celsius with 77. And we take the return value and we put it in a part of the of our page. I don't know if you've seen that, Kostas.
No, we haven't seen yet. We haven't touched it yet.
So yeah, we're not going to go in details about this, but what it does is this change the value of a part of your page. Okay. Okay. Now something else. Yeah, you need to use if you want to call the function, you need to use the parentheses, because if you don't, then this does not represent the return value. Okay, it represents the object function. So I'm gonna go in there, so it's gonna be clearer. Maybe right. So if I declare function add, okay, p1, p2, p1 plus p2. Okay, so that's a function, okay? Now, if I just do this, you see I don't get a number as a return value. I get, this is the, okay, what the developer console is giving me, but it's not a number, it's a function. When there's a small f here, it means that object is a function. And so when I want to see what the value of add is without the parenthesis, it says, well, it's a function. And actually it is a function. So that's kind of what you want to have. But if I do add 1 and 2, I get a number. Oh, there's a ghost wants to enter.
Ah, yes.
I'm guessing it's not a hacker.
No. Well, it's a good hacker.
Okay. Okay, so welcome, Ghost. What's your name, Ghost? Do you have a name?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, okay. I was saying, welcome, Ghost, and what's your name, Ghost? Okay.
This is Paulin.
We'll try to talk to Ghost afterwards. Sorry?
Yeah.
What's
no, go on. No, please.
Yeah, okay.
I was just introducing you.
Okay, right. So yeah, so this is the difference about using the parenthesis or not. So if you don't use the parenthesis, what you get is the function object, which can have some use, but we're going to see later about this. But as you know, basic introduction to functions, what you want to do with a function is call it. So you want to use the parentheses, otherwise it's not called. Okay. Also another example. What happens if I, actually the part with the not a number can be done with this example. What happens if I don't give enough parameters, arguments, yeah. Well, JavaScript is very permissive, as I was saying earlier. So it's not going to say anything. It's going to be, okay, well, you want to add 1 and nothing, then okay. So what happens when I do this is the function is called, there's no error, but in the function you have P1 is equal to 1 and P2 is equal to undefined because it is not defined. And so, as I was saying before, when you add 1, like a number, and undefined, you get this special value, n capital A lower score, n capital, and that means not a number. So, and that's a special value in also a lot of programming languages because it's something that you want to be able to describe, right? For example, when you divide something by 0, I think.
We kind of covered the none, yes. So
okay, sorry. So well, just saying is when you do add and you don't give when you don't pass the arguments, then the values is replaced by undefined. Okay, and then another thing is there should be only 2 arguments, but you can pass some other stuff. This is not going to change anything.
They're useless.
They're
right?
useless. It's not something you should do, but just so you know, JavaScript is not going to say anything. So if you don't pass enough arguments, or if you pass too many, it's not going to give you an error. So the function is going to be called and it's going to do something. And you're going to get a result value, but it's not something maybe you want to have, So it's just that you know that. And the other example is, well, maybe you can call it without any arguments, but so that's going to be, again, not a number because undefined plus undefined is really not a number. Okay for everyone about this? I'm guessing yes. Okay.
Paulin,
yes. Yeah.
Can I add a little neat trick right now, since you showed us an example of passing 1 argument in a function? Can you switch to VS Code, or is it easy to?
Yeah. Okay.
So just okay. Can you recreate the add or some function and just say yes, add 1. P1 plus P2, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, when we are in JavaScript, as Paulin said, we won't see anything like any notification or warning. But there's a trick now. If you switch the language to TypeScript, watch closely on the bottom, he selects a different language. Now, we won't be going into TypeScript right now, but okay, why it didn't happen?
Maybe it's because it's a JavaScript file, I don't know.
No, it works. Why? TypeScript, no. Okay, I can see this working on my VS Code, but
maybe you have, no, it's working. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So TypeScript is another language close to JavaScript. You don't have to worry about it now, but if you switch the format of the JavaScript file into TypeScript, you will get some really useful errors. Like this one, it says expected 2 arguments, but got 1, which if you write the code and you are a beginner, it will help you pinpoint the misconduct, let's say, for the mistakes like this. Since add requires 2 arguments, you will get this notice. So,
and what happens if yeah, okay. If you put too many, it's going to be the same.
yeah.
Okay.
So you can switch to TypeScript from time to time. You don't have to worry about what TypeScript is at this point, and you might get some extra help on your JavaScript. So,
Okay.
you changed the extension to TS.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it works if.
For me, it works also on JS files with just by changing the. Okay, so okay, another way to do is if you go in the first line and create a comment. I will send this and write at the @ sign. TS check, yeah, that's it. Now it works. Maybe it needs some time to.
I get only this one.
Okay, I will send you these tricks later, but yeah, for some reason it's not.
I don't know. Maybe it's
maybe it's some extension or something that's running and probably.
Yeah, this is like I'm inside the workspace of a project that's here, so that is.
Okay. Maybe the linter.
So
maybe
yeah,
the
there's
linter
a linter,
is.
there's everything, so it's not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
But okay, yeah, it's a good trick. Right. So back to the functions used as variable values. Well, what it means is we saw that we can assign a variable value with the result of a function, right? So the first example here is, okay, we convert 77 to Celsius, and then we give that return value to X. And then we say, okay, we want text, the variable text, to be the temperature is, and then X and Celsius. So this works, but you could do something much simpler and just pass to Celsius instead of X.
So sorry, Paulin, we cannot see your screen. We see VS Code right now.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to explain again. So the first example here. So what it means, the functions are used as variable values. It means wherever you would be able to put a variable, okay, you can put a function, a call to a function, okay, anywhere. So it means in in formulas, to variable assignments, in any expressions, okay? And so the example they give is the first line here declares the variable X and call to Celsius. And so X is equal to the result of 2 Celsius 77. And then they declare another variable text, and the value is the temperature is, then X, then Celsius. And what we could do is, instead of having to declare X, because we don't do anything on the variable, we can just put 2 Celsius 77 in the formula. So as if it was a variable value. Okay?
And can someone remind us of what will be placed in that exact spot where it says 2 Celsius 77? What will be placed there after the code is executed? What will go in that place?
The result of
yes, which is a little bit more specific.
The conversion of the.
Yeah, we don't know what the value is actually.
No, I wanted just to remind you that whenever you call a function in your code, that place will be replaced by the return value of the function.
Okay.
So just connect the invocation of the function with the return value.
Okay.
All right, so then there's the last paragraph before there's a bit of exercises. That's very important, last but not least, as they say. The variables that you declare inside the function, as well as the parameters, they are local. So that means, as they show here, if you declare a function and inside the function you declare a variable called car name will be usable after that line, but only inside that block of code. Okay? It's not usable here and it's not usable outside. So that means you could do, for example, back in the console, if what can I do? I don't know. Okay, so that's the variable, the function. And so, you know, if in my code I write something like let p1 equals 2, and then let p2 equals 4, sorry, and then I call add p1, p2, this is going to work. And the value, well, I don't know if it's a good example, but it means that the, yeah, it's better if it's written like this. It means that even though the parameters here and here, they have the same name as the one outside the function, they're not the same. For example, I could and then I say this, okay. Even though P1 and P2, wait, is this gonna work? I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna refresh the page. Sorry, because it's already declared, so. Yeah, if I write this piece of code, even though P1, the parameter P1 in the function is used there, okay? It is not linked to outside the function. This is a local variable, local value. P2 is also a local value, and those are global value. So they're not the same. So if I execute that code, they are not going to interfere.
Maybe you can add the local variable also on the add
it's
function.
just because the example we have is a bit. Okay, maybe let's try something else. Yeah, let's do something like this. So result is. Okay, and then here I say, okay, result equals to P1 and P plus P2, and then, right, so this is taking things a bit further. We declare P1, we declare P2 and result, and they're all string values. And then we declare the function add, and it has the local parameters P1 and P2, and then we declare a variable called results, and that's P1 plus P2. And then we return the result. And if we call add 2 and 3, there won't be any interference between that value and that value, okay? So again, anything that you, when you're inside a function, you can use any names you want, okay? Because they won't interfere with outside values. But there's also something that has to be mentioned. from inside the function, you can still have access to the outside values, I think. So in the same example, if here, I return results, but I don't do that part. Can someone say what this is gonna reply? Okay, wait, just 1 second. Okay, yeah. Can someone guess what's gonna be the result of add 2 and 3?
Nikos is trying to talk.
5, I think. Okay. 5.
Why 5? Why 5, Nikos? What's the reason behind your answer?
Because we have the result of function. We call add function, and internally do the calculation, export the result.
Which calculation?
But maybe we can go step by step. Okay. So, okay, some people are saying it won't return anything. I don't know. Maybe let's take it step by step. So this is only declarations, right? So we don't care too much about that part. But then at that part of the code, it calls the function, right, with 2 and 3. So we here, okay, P1 equals 2, P2 equals 3. Then the first and last instruction is return result. So it returns something because we go to return, okay? But what it returns is result. And what's the value of result? It's defined here, and it's really not a number. In that case, P1 and P2 are not used. So we could pass anything in there, it's the same. It will always reply really not a number. Yeah, it was a trick example. See, like doing this is the same as actually writing this. Actually, there's a mistake in English, but it's the same. This is the same example as the previous one. So whatever value you pass to P1 and P2, this is like a static value, so it will never change. Okay.
Okay. Can you do one last example with a local variable and trying to access this variable outside the function so that we see that?
Good idea.
A simpler example, probably.
So back here, okay. Function add, wait, I have to refresh again. Right, so declare function, yes?
You were saying that the parameters will only work inside the function, and then if we call them outside of it, then it wouldn't work. Now, when you gave it the result, when you gave it a value before in order to return it as that, was it still returns even though if the return it's inside the function? How does it work? I didn't understand that part.
Which example was it?
The last example, when you had a function and add P1 and P2, and then you had return results, but you had put the let result be something. Yeah, exactly. That part.
This one?
Yeah.
No. This one or this one, sorry? Yeah,
that one.
Okay.
That one.
So say again, what's your question?
Yeah.
So from what I understood earlier is that whatever happens inside the function, or if we use, let's say, a variable inside a function, then we can't use it outside.
Uh-huh.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
when we
yeah.
put let result be really not a number, is this outside or inside the function?
Well, that's the trick here is it's outside the function. This is outside the function.
Yeah.
And this is inside the function. But there's a priority. So if you declare 2 times, if a global variable is result and the local variable is result, then here they will always use the closest variable. And so the closest variable when you're inside the function is the variable that's declared inside the function. Then if there's the local, yes. And if there's no, so in that case, there is a local variable called result. So result here is equal to this, okay? But let's say I comment that part. That was the example afterwards. Here, result, well, there's no...
that's what I got confused. Okay, so when it doesn't have...
Yeah, in that part, result doesn't exist in the function. So then it fetches a value elsewhere. And so it goes to the global variable.
Okay. And if we had not declared in the global, of course, it wouldn't
it
come as undefined.
Yeah.
An error.
An error.
Okay.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Yes.
So what if, can you remove the comment from let result?
Yeah.
Yes. What if we try to redeclare result and we don't use the let keyword inside the function? What happens?
Well, it's gonna replace the global variable.
Okay.
Yes. So
and
in that case,
if I want to retrieve the global variable again, how do I do that?
You can't. So it's a very good remark, because outside here, if I do console.log result, then result will be equal to wait, I'm not yeah, it's this. Okay.
Undefined.
So no, not undefined. Forget about the undefined. It's 5.
It's 5.
Yes. So what happens is exactly what you were thinking. So if we don't declare with let or const or var, then result here, you don't get an error because it is declared, but it's not declared as a local in the local scope in the local function. It's declared outside, but it exists, right? So you can still modify it.
Okay, understood.
But it's very dangerous to forget to put let here, as you can see, because it's a cause of bug. I don't see any reason for you to not put the let here and to change the global variable, because if you wanted to change the global variable, you would do it outside the function.
Yes.
So this is, in most cases, it's a mistake and it's going to cause an error, a bug.
Can you declare a variable outside of the function without the same way that you're doing it without using let?
Yes, but it's also an error. So like doing this, JavaScript is permissive, so it's going to work, but it's like if you type this in VS Code, then VS Code is going to tell you, there's something's missing. You should put const like a keyword before results.
Okay,
so
and just in case, sorry, and for naming variables in this case, is it good or bad practice to have 2 variables with the same name, even though one is global and one is local? Should we use different names? What is the best option?
I think that's fine. Yeah, because the scope inside the variable, it's like in some programs, you're gonna have maybe like dozens of functions. So you shouldn't care maybe too much about the names inside the functions if you make sure that you use let and const to declare them, because they're local values. So who cares, And also, we're going to see later that because for now, we're just typing code in the global scope. But in reality, once we'll go deeper in the JavaScript, you'll see that it's not a very common case to have the global scope. You always have other scopes than variable scopes. So it's, yeah, I don't know, sorry. So it's not a great explanation because we're going to see later that, you know, in most cases, you don't have to worry too much about the global scope. What is Costa saying? Always declare variable with let or const, or even var. Never declare variables without these keywords. Okay, yeah.
So this is just a strict rule. You will never have to forget this. When you are declaring a variable meaning we are introducing a variable for the first time in our code. Always use let or const. Try to avoid var. So don't just put a name of a variable, name equals Costas or something else, because that's one of the worst things you can do with code in JavaScript. So the first time you introduce a variable, always use let or const, and then you can assign the value or use it. But
yeah,
keep it in mind; it's a very, very crucial rule. Let's say.
It's a big mistake, and because JavaScript is very permissive, you know, if you just write code as what I'm doing in the dev console, there won't be any errors. So if you don't pay attention, this is something that can happen. But then if you write code in the Visual Studio Code in the IDE, then you know the IDE will tell you that this is a mistake. So it's easily avoided using an IDE, but. Okay, one last example about this is the case where I declare the function, and inside the function, I declare a result variable and return the variable, the result, okay? And what I do is add toFree, okay? And then I want to print the result value. But in that case, the problem is result is only declared in the function scope, in the function local scope. So outside of it, result here will be undefined, I'm pretty sure. Or it's going to be an error. Yeah, it's an error. Okay, is this clear for everyone with what we covered until now? We're going to do a bit of exercises before the end, and that's it. Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't do any pause, but I don't know. Were we supposed to do a pause, Costas?
I don't know. Would you like to take a short 5 minutes break before moving on to the exercises? Do you need a short break?
I mean, it's already. It's just next time if you want. I'm gonna do the pause.
Okay. Yes, I think we have just a few minutes, so next time we can.
Okay, so if there is no questions, we can go to the exercises. A question. If we call the value of a var, but we don't remember if that var was global or local, how can we check it out? I don't think you can.
It depends on. No.
var, if you declare something with var, let, or const, the fact that it's global or local depends on where you do the declaration, never about the keyword.
If you declare it inside the function, it will be local.
Yes.
With all keywords, with all 3 keywords. So that is not correct. I mean, var is not always global. So,
I have a question, sorry.
Yes, please.
Let's say that we want a function to calculate tax, right? And before we were saying that it's not possible for us to change the parameters, and I would assume that, okay, it's the formula of the function that we were not supposed to change. But what if we use the variables in order not to change the formula, but to change the values? Let's say I want to make a function that anyone can go inside the website and just input how much they earn, and then that added to the tax rate, and then they can calculate. Will this be a good use case scenario, let's let's say for a function, and is it possible to be done?
So you want to have a website where you have like, let's say, fields like inputs of text, and when you submit the value, then the function is called and you return the something. Is that it?
Yes, correct.
Yes, that's exactly the kind of cases where you use JavaScript, and also you can use a function. Yes. And for now, you haven't seen how to get the value inside the page or to replace the value inside the page, but you'll see it soon. But yes, that's a scenario where you can use a function. Okay, now the exercises. So I think there's like four exercises in this. I don't know. Do we do them together?
What do you say we think of another exercise? Let's say maybe
Oh, but
something.
there's some others afterwards. It's like 4 questions, I think. But
yes, I know. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe what Curie suggested. Curie, can you in a simpler version? But Curie, what did you have in mind with what you described? Like,
so I was thinking that we could define, well, call the function, let's say function calculate tax, and then we wanted it to give to pass it on two properties, which one is going to be, let's say, the price of a product and then a tax rate. So that's property A and property B. One would be price and then tax rate, the other one. And then we could say that the total is the price plus the price times the tax rate.
That's a perfect example, I think. What do you say?
Yeah, okay. So what do you want to do? You want to maybe try on your own for like 10 minutes about this?
So you you cannot share this link. Okay, you just paste it on the.
Yeah, it's to do the correction. So let's sorry. How did you find it? Did any of you had any success?
Any ideas?
Okay.
Yes, I can contribute.
Okay.
The first step. We can do it in steps.
Sure. Okay. So what would be the first step?
So we need 3 variables first. We need 3 variables. One that takes the price, and another one that takes the tax. Or we could just declare the tax in the function, but we need 3 global variables. And the result must have a string attached to it, just to make it look like the 3 variables. That's my plan.
But what I don't.
How would you go writing the code?
Yeah.
So let's say let price equal to nothing, okay, or 0, just to be a number, and let tax equal to 0. So they can redefine them in the function, or we could just declare them as arguments. They would still be variables.
Okay. So that's an idea. And so when you say we could declare them as arguments, so if we declare them as arguments, we need to declare the function, right?
Yeah.
So how would you write the function?
So let's say function get price or tax.
Yeah. Let's get tax included price.
Right.
Okay. So what parameters would you give to the function?
Price, tax, and result.
Are you sure you want to pass the result? Because
No. 2 is enough. 2 is enough.
2 is enough. Okay.
Yeah, we declare the result inside the function.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? So in the function, what would be the? Okay. So I see that Curie also contributed. So maybe let's
Okay, let's go to Curie.
let's have Curie contribute
Okay.
to the next part. So Curie defined a function calculate tax. Okay, it's just the name is different, and then this price and tax rate. Just one remark, Curie, you always write names of stuff in camel case. So this would be tax rate in that case. Okay, and then what Curie does is he does this. Basically, let's total equal price plus price times tax rate. Okay.
And nice usage of the grouping operator, the parentheses, as we learned today, yesterday. We saw about operator precedence yesterday, and we saw that plus and multiplication, have different precedents. So this is a nice way to separate.
Although it would work, right?
Yeah, but
it's just more readable.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay, so now we have a function, okay, and we have in the function we declare a total, okay, and and Vaso says if we use return instead of let total. So I would agree with that, because if we do return, then we're actually going to get the tax included price. Because if you declare total, okay, what Curie was doing, we have to do something like this. But we don't have to declare total, because we're not going to use it. So we can
what I was thinking also of doing, okay, this is exactly what we've learned up to this point, but at the same time, what Ghost was saying is that if we can turn the price and the tax rate into variables that users can input different values depending on what the tax rate is and the price is, then this would be even a better calculator, no?
What do you mean?
Actually, they get my Curie. They can do that while they declare the function. When they call the function, they have to place it.
Yes, once, yeah, get that.
Yes, so I understand what you want to do, but the problem is, so yeah, if let's say in our example where I can change the code here, let's if I call the function like this, okay, wait, that's gonna be annoying. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the console. Sorry.
Maybe do a document or document body inner HTML. Just a simple. You will learn about this later on.
Right. So what I'm doing is I'm replacing the page on the right by the result of the tax included. Now, what you wanted to do, Ghost and Curie, I think, is you want the user to interact and to put the value. The problem is we don't know how to do that yet. We don't know how to interact with the page. It's what I'm doing now with this part, but you haven't seen it yet. But in what we, but yes, once you've declared the function, you could pass here, whatever you want. So in our case, it's what's declared here, but later we're going to see that instead of having those values, we can actually read the value that the user wrote somewhere. But the function definition doesn't change.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
I've created a function that works, but I didn't declare the variables. Can I share? I don't know. Can I share my code with you?
You mean those variables?
Yeah, so I didn't declare the variables price and tax.
You don't have to declare them actually.
Right. Okay.
You can just put the values here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So if you do this, what you're going to replace the value here by the tax included price of something that costs 10 whatever, and is taxed at 5%. Okay, so it's if we run it, then we get this. Okay. So the goal of the exercise was just to write the function. So actually, if you wrote something like this, it's good. It's good enough. Then what's around the function is, you know, not something you should worry about right now.
Okay. Cheers.
Can I add something at this point? Can you copy and paste the code that Kiuri just above or below? No, leave this code because this is the final, this is the good code, but can you also copy somewhere at the bottom the Kiuri's code, because there's an interesting, okay, so Kiuri pasted this code which has something missing at this point. And can you guess what's missing from this function? The return statement. So if we were to run this function and try to get the return value, what do you think the return value would be? Just a guess. We haven't talked about it, but undefined, exactly, yes. So in case you don't have a return statement in a function, okay, that's always when you are missing the return statement, or you are just placing a return without a value, like return and semicolon, JavaScript automatically returns the special undefined value. So in this case, in Kiuri's code, we'll calculate the total price, but the function will actually return undefined. So functions should most of the times return a value. In this case, we really want to return a value because we want to get the value and, I don't know, display it on the page or something. So make sure you don't leave out the return statement, which is really important most of the times.
Yep. All right. So maybe I can send that the exercise to the chat, or to the, maybe I'll send it on the
Slack.
On Slack, yeah. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for today. Do you have any last question before we stop?
Do we have a limitation to arguments?
No, you can put as many as you want.
Okay.
Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for joining today. And yes.
It might, I don't know, that we said that price, return price plus price, how's it called? Multiply tax rate. And then, but why do we need it? Because we already write, I don't understand how we get 10,5.
Because it's equals to 10 plus times 0.0.5, and that's equal to 10 plus 0.5.
Sorry, I thought it's 0.5. Yeah. I got 15 in my head. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
And so that's equals to 10.5.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go back to work. Thanks for joining today, and yeah,
Thank you very much
on Slack, and otherwise I'll see you in 2 weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sweet. Yeah. Have a good weekend.